that exist to provide financial services, but there are financial institutions that are also financial cooperatives. So they follow a cooperative model, and a cooperative is where you find a group of people who have something in common most of the time, and they realize that one of the things that they have in common is a common need, and that need may be economic, social, or cultural, and they realize the best way for us as this group to be able to address this need that is common amongst us is to form what we call a cooperative, which is an entity or an enterprise, and this enterprise is jointly owned by this group of people, meaning that the shareholders, and it is also democratically controlled. So those Motswedis and Tutos and all those that you're saying, they are financial cooperatives that are following this cooperative model, and we call them Savings and Credit Cooperative Societies. So the financial institutions that are owned by the members or the clients that they serve are the ones who are also shareholders, and on the other side, they are also the beneficiaries of whatever financial services that those institutions are delivering.
Absolutely. I'm particularly also interested in the clients that they serve. We've seen over the years, it looks like civil servants are the predominant beneficiaries in this regard. Can we conclude that the SACCOSs are focusing on assisting those that are within the civil service?
No, just like you said, when you're talking about the role of financial cooperatives in promoting financial inclusion, and if you look at our vision as BOSCCA, being the association overseeing all the financial cooperatives in the country, we're saying we are promoting financial inclusion using SACCOSs, because SACCOSs by their nature, they're supposed to serve anybody who needs financial services, and most of the time is even excluded or underserved by other financial institutions that are already there, or maybe they are served but not according to the financial needs that they have. Because the uniqueness of the SACCOS is that we focus mostly on these members to say what are their unique needs when it comes to financial services, what are the affordability, are they able to access any financial service as and when they need it.
Right.
That is how come we even start having them as numerous as they are. So you find that currently in Botswana, we have most of what we'd call institutional-based SACCOSs, which, for example, will be a certain group of employees working together, and they realize we have more financial needs that we feel are underserved or not being satisfied. Why don't we come together and form this cooperative and pull together our savings, and then we serve ourselves from this cooperative? That's why you'd find that Tudo is saving maybe civil servants, and then you'd find there is one in Orapa, which is saving the Botswana employee based in Orapa. You'd find that there are so many numerous. So we even have community-based, where it's a community, for example, in Muchudi, they have one called Tree of Hope SACCOS, which is serving the community of Muchudi. And in that community, you have those who are formally employed, those who are small, medium enterprises. So that's basically who SACCOSs are supposed to be serving. Anybody, the private sector, the public employees, as long as they are forming themselves to say this is the institution that will invest in, first of all, being shareholders of it.
Right. Yeah. So if you're going to look at it holistically and just over the years, how would you say that the SACCOSs have actually impacted the economy in Botswana? What difference would you say that the SACCOSs and their establishment have made within different parts of the economic sectors?
Well, first of all, they've created that access to financial services. That's the first thing, because that's what we exist to provide. And this access to finance, which is affordable to its members. Right. Because in our model as SACCOSs, first of all, we're supposed to be providing financial services that are accessible, that are affordable, and even relevant to the needs of those members that you're serving. But you find that other players in the financial sector, whenever they bring about financial service, it's not like really they're thinking about affordability, but they have different objectives as compared to those of SACCOS. For theirs is to maximize profit so that they maximize returns for their investors. And these investors, most of the time, you wouldn't find normal citizens or Batswana mostly being the shareholders or the owners of these other financial institutions, despite the fact that we're actually getting financial services from them. Because if you look at the data from Bank of Botswana, the household debt in Botswana is around 61 billion. Yeah. And the 61 billion, 54 billion is financed by the banking sector. How many Batswana shareholders in that banking industry? That means now we are the ones who are actually the consumers of those. But when now we get to benefit from the returns and the profits made from those, it's somebody else benefiting, not the actual customers. But the impact now from the SACCOS is that currently we have a loan book of around 613 million within the sector. And the beneficiaries at the end of the day, the ones who are paying interest on these loans, are the ones who are going to benefit in a form of interest on savings, because we use their savings to disburse these loans. They're going to benefit in a form of dividend, because remember I said they are shareholders. And they're going to even benefit also in terms of enhanced services, because these institutions are theirs. So the services that are brought about are just made to target their financial needs. How do we make contribution in their social welfare, in their financial wellness, most importantly. So that's one of the biggest contributions that we've made over years. And we have SACCOS having been able to mobilize around 2.9 billion savings. So we have 55,000 members in SACCOS. All the SACCOS currently, we are serving 55,000 members out of a population of 2.5, meaning we still have a long way to go. And this 55 have been able to contribute 2.7 billion from their own pockets. One is bringing 100 pula, another is bringing 10,000 pula, and they're able to give themselves financial services from there. They're able to even benefit all of them equally. And another impact that we've made, which is one of the areas we need a lot of development in Botswana, in terms of the economic, socio-economic development of our people, is that of financial literacy. Because we cannot be talking about financial inclusion. Well, we are talking about a public that's very much having a lot of gap when it comes to financial literacy, which is exhibited by our behavior when it comes to financial matters. So as SACCOS, we have amongst the services that we offer being financial coaching, where we're having our members not only being beneficiaries or consumers of the loans and the savings products that we have, but we're able to work this journey of financial wellness with them, where we help them prepare for retirement, when we help them know which one is good debt, which one isn't the good debt, and how do you save, why do you save, because we cannot be building that culture of saving without even bringing about the education and equipping our members with the skills. So these are some of the areas that SACCOS have actually made a big difference and contribution into the economic status of our country and our people, mostly because we are focusing on the individuals being Botswana, to say what economic contribution is the Botswana playing when we talk about the financial sector, when we talk about this inclusive economy. Is it really inclusive? Do we have a normal Botswana who's earning 4,000 pula, having the ability to be a shareholder of a financial institution? And SACCOS have given them that opportunity.
And I wanted us to actually delve into that and speak to that financial inclusion and just, you know, the holistic financial habits, if you will, of Botswana. When you speak of access to finances or financial access, what exactly do your members really focus on? What do they need the funds for? What do they normally do over and above, obviously, you know, having a shareholding in these organizations?
Yeah, so it differs from society to another, because remember I said for a SACCO to come about is a group of people who have something in common. So even their needs for financial services, they vary. So you find that as we have about 80 SACCOs and 30 under BOSCCA. Each one of them have varying financial services that they're giving to their members based on the members' needs. For example, we have one which is saving the BDF employees. The life of a military person differs from one who's employed maybe in a private sector, in an accounting firm. So when we come about with our products or financial products that we give to our members, we look at their lives to say what are their needs, how unique are they? Because like I said, for us, we feel that gap which we know others don't really feel. You go to other financial institutions, you'd have a personal loan which is the same across, you'd have mortgages, car, and all those that are the same. But when it comes to SACCOS, we look at your life as an individual, the members that we are saving, to say what's that uniqueness about them, and it is reflected by the services that we provide. And mostly they are the same. It will be savings products, it will be credit, and then coupled with financial coaching to be able to ensure that really we are contributing to the behavioral patterns of these members. And also a large chunk is going also to the societal impact, because remember, when we are saving members, these members exist in communities. We cannot say we are saving you as an individual and ignore the fact that there are other people connected to your life. So SACCOS, we are not for profit. That's our model. But we are for service to members.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And service to members mean looking at every area of a member's life and see how do we make impact through the financial muscle that we have, through the financial services that we have. Yeah.
And then there's an entity that is called the Botswana Savings and Credit Cooperation Association, BOSCCA for short. And you'll agree with me, I'm sure, that financial issues are very sensitive, and you're looking at regulatory authorities and just regulations holistically to ensure that the organizations that speak to the financial service provision are protected, as well as Batswana that actually invest in these entities. What role does BOSCCA play in supporting SACCOS in Botswana?
Okay, so BOSCCA is an association. So it's an association of all these cooperatives in Botswana. That's the organization that I'm representing.
Sure.
So just like a SACCO, it is also owned by the SACCOS itself, because it exists to represent the financial cooperatives. So the shareholders in this association are the SACCOS themselves.
Yeah.
So its role is that of advocacy, to be the one voice for the cooperative movement. That's why you see we're the ones saying there is this model that we believe everybody can actually leverage on. So we do advocacy in terms of policies in the country that will be enabling, and that will create an enabling environment for SACCOS to thrive and make the impact that it has to in its unique nature.
Yeah.
And also to talk about the regulatory environment, because it is important. We're talking about public funds. These members, they need somebody to be providing that oversight to ensure that the one pula that I've put in a SACCO is as safe as the one pula in another financial institution, which there is somebody providing that regulatory oversight over. So those are the areas also that we advocate for SACCOS in. There is actually some changes currently even in the regulatory environment of SACCOS. For the past years, we've had SACCOS regulated governance-wise, but there wasn't what we call prudential regulation, which now tends to protect more of the members' deposits. And we're having the changes that are coming about, where we're having the Reserve Bank or the Bank of Botswana and other stakeholders. We're now talking to say, now it is high time. We're talking more than 1 billion savings that we've mobilized from the public. Now there has to be that oversight provided, that regulation, to ensure that as much as we contribute into the financial sector, there is soundness and sanity in the sector as well, in the SACCO. So that's one of the roles that we play, that of advocacy. And another one is that of capacity building. We train the SACCOs because they are institutions where it's normal people coming together to say, we want to have this institution saving us.
Right.
But the model, how it works, how they professionally run it in a way that it is able to achieve our mission, there has to be somebody providing training. So we are the organization that is in charge of providing that training. We're providing capacity building, the governance and all that. And also we create platform for networking, because SACCOS is not only a Botswana idea. This is actually a global movement where we're having all the 7 continents. We're having SACCOS existing there, and the leading continent being the US, where you're having most people having the financial services 100% served from the SACCOs. So you can imagine where we're having developed economies depending heavily in this sector. In Botswana, we are yet still doing so little. And you look at countries like in the continent from Kenya, where we're having SACCOs alone contributing 30% to the GDP of the country, meaning what 30% is contributed by the normal citizens of that country. That's what we call an inclusive economy.
Right.
And you come to Botswana, I was talking about the 61 billion household debt. And even that doesn't even account for the amount that I was telling you that this is what we're contributing as SACCOs, meaning there's a lot that needs to be done. So that's the role that we play, to say, let's recognize this sector. This sector actually has a way of complementing all the efforts that we're making in this country of talking about economic inclusion at every level.
And I'm sure that you'll agree with me that when we talk financial issues, it's a very sensitive issue, like I said earlier. And, we're dealing with about 55,000 members, and we're looking to actually even venture into, more sectors and get even more members. I'm sure there's challenges in that space. What are some of the challenges that the SACCOs in Botswana particularly experience, and how can they be solved?
Okay, first of all, one of the challenges that we actually face in Botswana, the first one is that of education. You'll appreciate that from this 2.5 million, so many people, maybe today is even their first time hearing about this model. So, okay, so there's actually this type of financial institutions. While I'm getting financial services there, at least I could be knowing that this loan that I'm paying in this financial institution, at the end, I will benefit from my interest that I'm paying on the loan. So there is that gap of education. There hasn't been a lot of awareness in our country country for the past years about this model. So now, even as we are trying to now reach out to so many people from the 2.5 million population, there is a lot of work to be done around awareness about the sector, about this model, and also other challenges that come with that the SACCOs are currently facing is that of capitalization, of capital, because remember I'm saying we're having almost 2 billion in terms of savings, but to serve more people and to have more financial services, we need a large pool because we don't get external funding from anywhere. It is the members using their very own savings to finance the loans that they're getting from the SACCOs. So that is one of the challenges which can be solved, of course, as we grow the membership of SACCOs, as we start to reach into other sectors, especially the underserved, the informal sector, the private sector. Sometimes when you talk about the excluded, we talk about the people in the rural. We forget that actually private sectors or private employees or even the informal sector who actually has some form of income coming in on a monthly, but nobody's willing to tap into that risk. They find them risky. Nobody's willing to actually serve them financially. So these are the areas that as SACCOs we are preparing ourselves to say, as we go on in from 2025, we start to tap in this market. And of course, one of the ways that help us to really leverage and serve well, it is investment in technology, right? We want efficiency. Our service delivery has to be easily accessible. That's what we talk about when we talk about financial inclusion, to say, are our financial services easily accessible to everybody? So SACCOs haven't been doing quite well in terms of automating our processes or leveraging on technology. So these are one of the areas that we are very venturing much into to see how we position ourselves as we'll be saving a more broader pool now going forward.
Absolutely. And on the 30th, you're celebrating International SACCOS Day in Botswana. We only have 1 minute, so I just want you to help me understand, you know, if these conversations will be had at the commemoration and why it's important for this commemoration, really, especially in Botswana's context.
Okay, so this commemoration is where we come together as financial cooperatives in Botswana to reflect on our strides and our successes and what we've been doing in the country, the conversation we've been having. And this year we've made it deliberate that we start celebrating it, and we even choose an area where we'll be able to raise more awareness to the public about the sector. So this year is an opportunity for a Botswana somewhere home that now you've heard about the sector, come and participate and learn more and see which one you can actually start joining, become a shareholder and benefit from the financial services that this sector is providing to its members and shareholders.
Absolutely. Mayor Masalila, thank you so much for joining me this morning and having this very insightful conversation. We hope to see you back and just, you know, reporting back on what really transpired at the commemoration.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward.
100%. And that is where we leave it. We're in conversation there with the BOSCCA CEO, Kefilwe Masalila. We're talking about, saving and credit cooperatives in Botswana, SACCOs, and we're talking about, the fact that they will be celebrating or commemorating the SACCOs International SACCOs Day on the 30th of November, and what exactly it is that you can expect at that commemorative day. And of course, I'm sure you got a thing or two from their conversation. We leave it here, but stay with us. It's coming up at the top of the hour. We have the news.
Cost-cutting measures. Mr. Speaker, it is our considered view that our country loses billions of pula to wastage due to poor management or negligence, or even subtle and clear-cut corruption. Consequently, the Ministry of Finance will, at the appropriate time, announce rigorous cost-saving measures, including, first, wastewater treatment. Water bills for senior schools exceed 300 million pula per annum. By implementing wastewater treatment plants, water substitution, and recycling, we can significantly reduce these costs. This estimate excludes savings from fixing leaks in pipes and storage tanks.